Mr. Chairman, I want to raise a point of order,
Yes, ma'am.
but I don't want the clock to be eating my time.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I would like for the witness to be swearing in before I ask my questions.
The chair doesn't see a need for that. You may ask your question. Your time can start the gentlewoman's time over at 5 minutes.
Secretary Bessent, you were on CNBC earlier this week making claims saying we are very close and maybe we will see some deals this week on tariffs. So tell us, tell the American people, tell small businesses and consumers, tell retirees, specifically which countries are you close to striking deals with?
I'm sorry, Congresswoman, but that would not benefit the United States.
No, I'm asking you a question based on the statement that you made on CNBC.
And I am telling you that it would be detrimental to the interest of the United States for me to answer that question.
Why will that be detrimental?
Because as the negotiations may still be in process as we speak, as we are not at the end of the week yet, I am sure that you through your question, would not want to compromise the U.S. negotiations.
Reclaiming my time.
Would you?
Secretary Bessent, the president goes into a press conference and claims that there are negotiations going on. And then the next day, there's no negotiations going on. So why would you not answer my question? And that will be considered detrimental to the American people, to the American economy. I do not understand. Despite your claim...
I'm happy to say there are negotiations going on. I'm not going to reveal the details.
No filibuster. No filibuster here.
So how long do you think those negotiations will take before they are concluded?
There are numerous countries, as I have said, if you saw my CNBC interview, which you referenced, that there are 18 important trading partners, and we are moving forward at all deliberate speed with those.
Do you consider these negotiations advanced negotiations?
Some of them are quite advanced.
So you expect this deal to be more than memorandums of understanding? You expect them to be full negotiated trade deals?
I believe that they will be the agreements in principle, and then we will paper them over in the coming months. But once we reach an agreement, then I am sure that the other countries will live up to it.
Okay. In congressional testimony yesterday, you said the U.S. has not started negotiating with China on tariff reductions. Does that continue to be your position, yes or no?
As you may have read,
yes or no, sir?
As you may have read in the press, I will be going to Switzerland, and the negotiations will begin on Saturday.
Okay, so the president told you that that will be your answer today. So can you tell who from the Trump administration is engaged in those discussions?
Which discussions?
With China.
Trade discussions?
Pardon?
I'm sorry.
Trade discussions, yes, sir.
Well, the trade negotiations will be led by myself and Ambassador Jameson Greer,
And-
USTR.
And what about Pete Navarro?
Sorry?
Peter Navarro.
He will not be joining us in Geneva.
Thank God for that. Are those negotiations considered advanced?
Pardon?
Are those negotiations considered advanced?
As I said, on Saturday we will begin, which I believe is the opposite of advance.
Secretary Bessent, as Treasury Secretary and a senior member of President Trump's economic team, has President Trump given you the authority to finalize any trade agreement with China or any other trading partner?
As President Trump has stated, he will have the final decision on any trade agreement.
So you're telling me all of these increased prices, the stock market losses, the production delays are all based on the whims of Donald Trump, that you could strike the best deal with Canada, Mexico, or even China, that is completely in our favor, giving us everything the administration
Gentlewoman's
is
time has
seeking.
expired.
And if President Trump decides at any certain
Gentlewoman's
moment,
time has
for whatever reason, not to take the deal, that will be it. I yield back.
What unfolded during this tense back and forth between Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent wasn't just another heated hearing. Velázquez, a seasoned Democratic lawmaker with a long record of advocating for small businesses and working families, immediately raised a procedural concern. She wanted Bessent sworn in before questioning began. It was a simple ask, a matter of integrity and accountability. But the Republican chair refused, brushing it off as unnecessary. That decision set the tone for everything that followed, a tone of dismissal, evasion, and arrogance from those in power. When Velázquez began her questioning, she went straight to the point. Earlier that week, Bessent had gone on CNBC boasting that the administration was very close to securing new trade deals that, according to him, might even be finalized within days. That's a bold public statement, especially given the volatility of global markets and the uncertainty facing American exporters, farmers, and small manufacturers. So Velázquez did what any responsible lawmaker should do. She asked him to clarify. Which countries are we talking about? Who are we negotiating with? How will this affect American consumers and retirees? And just like that, the deflection began. Bessent claimed that answering the question would not benefit the United States. Think about that. The Treasury Secretary, a public servant paid by taxpayer dollars, telling an elected member of Congress that basic information about trade talks is somehow too sensitive for the American public to know. Velázquez wasn't asking for confidential documents or negotiation playbooks, she was asking for accountability. And his refusal to answer underscored something bigger, the way this administration uses secrecy as a shield against scrutiny. It's a familiar pattern, public boasting when it benefits the political narrative, followed by silence when pressed for details. The same officials who tout transparency on television suddenly find it detrimental when transparency is demanded in Congress. Velázquez didn't let up. She reminded Bessent and the American public that the president himself often goes before cameras making sweeping claims about ongoing negotiations, only for those claims to evaporate the next day. The disconnect between rhetoric and reality has real consequences. It affects markets, drives uncertainty, and hits working people hardest. Prices rise, stock values swing, and small businesses are left in limbo, all while officials dodge questions in hearing rooms. Then came the moment that laid bare the contradictions in Bessent's testimony. Under pressure, he admitted that the U.S. hadn't even begun negotiations with China on tariff reductions, despite all the talk of progress. Velázquez pressed him. Had that changed? Was there any movement? He finally conceded that talks would begin on Saturday in Switzerland. So after all the grandstanding, all the media appearances and self-congratulations, the truth came out. There were no deals yet, just the start of preliminary discussions. This is the heart of Velázquez's frustration and the American people's. The administration talks like it's winning the trade war, but in reality, it's playing catch-up. Tariffs have already disrupted supply chains, raised costs for American consumers, and cost manufacturing jobs. Farmers in the Midwest have been devastated by retaliatory tariffs, and small exporters are losing ground to competitors overseas. The longer these negotiations drag on, and the more uncertainty the administration fuels, the harder it becomes for the people who actually make and move things in this country to survive. And then came a flash of honesty from Velázquez, and a touch of humor grounded in truth. When she asked if Peter Navarro, the infamous trade hawk known for pushing erratic tariff policies, would be part of the talks, Bessent said no. Her response, thank God for that, wasn't just a quip, it was a reflection of how reckless trade decisions have been under this administration. Navarro's influence helped create the chaos in the first place, leaving American farmers and consumers to pick up the tab. By the end of her 5 minutes, Velázquez had exposed something fundamental, that U.S. trade policy under Trump was driven less by strategy and more by impulse, by the whims of a president who values optics over outcomes. She pressed Bessent one last time. Are you telling me that all the price increases, the stock market losses, the production delays, all of it depends on Donald Trump's personal mood or momentary judgment? That question cut to the core of the issue, because that's exactly what's been happening. Trade policy has become performance politics, driven by cable news soundbites instead of careful negotiation, by ego instead of expertise. Velázquez's questioning wasn't just about trade, it was about governance.